Peace, family. Welcome to African Esquire TV. I'm your host, Tony Cherie. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. But in addition to that, please add yourself to my Telegram group. This will be a decentralized platform where I will share information about the channel with you all. And in addition, please add yourself to my group on Odyssey, another decentralized platform. So this is also good for being better as far as censorship issues. So many of you have probably seen the United States has reversed policy on the vaccine patents, the ones that they were so sure had to be protected and that it was not going to do the world better to release the patents to developing countries. So we're going to talk about this story because this is a good follow-up. And I think it's also a good example to understand that the humanitarian work that comes out of this country is not really humanitarian. Everything's a play on power. Everything's a play on protecting their own interests. And anytime they tell you that they're doing something for the betterment of humanity, by now you should know better. If you want to do something for the betterment of humanity, why don't you lift those sanctions off of Zimbabwe? Why don't you stop the blockade of Cuba? Why don't you stop the occupation of Palestine? If you want to do something for humanity. But of course, no one will question those things. Instead, we'll stay on the surface level tokens that they do throw us every once in a while. So this is coming from the Washington Post. It says, when South Africa and India proposed this all the way back in October. If you remember, in October, United States was not doing so good with COVID. They're still not doing too great, but they were doing worse and there were no vaccines out. So they were in a bad position. You would think that they wanted to eradicate this disease and share the patents with people who don't have the same medical technologies. But no, not at all. South Africa and India proposed in October the idea, and it seems straightforward. Hey, why don't you waive the intellectual property rights on coronavirus, just on a coronavirus recipe and production technology so that the world can produce as many doses as possible so that we can end this pandemic. Makes sense to me. I mean, we by now have learned that if any country has coronavirus, has COVID-19, that the United States is not protected, that Europe is not protected, that there's no place that's protected because of the way that this thing spreads. But no, that was not going to work for the US. Instead, mostly Western countries, including the United States, with powerful pharmaceutical lobbies, rejected the idea and then cut deals with vaccine makers to effectively hoard the doses. The World Trade Organization's head called it a catastrophic moral failure, and other critics likened it to vaccine apartheid. And that's important thing to highlight because I know a lot of our people, every time I talk about the vaccines, they feel like, oh, you're supporting the vaccines. I tell you guys 1,000 times, I am not telling you what to do with your body. That is your personal choice. But regardless of how you feel about the vaccines, I hope that you understand medical apartheid and how it works. The fact that the medical system as it exists is not something that's built to heal you. It's not something that's built to see you live long. It's actually built to keep you sick, because it's profitable to the doctors, to the pharmaceutical companies, to the insurance companies. It's a capitalist industry. And that's something that we have to be willing to challenge, even whenever it comes with things like vaccines. Even if you're against it, you should still have a problem when you see these manufacturers trying to monopolize something and push it into other countries, not allowing those people to even have something that's comparable. Now, I also want to say that we should understand that the reason that this is obviously, it's not because the US loves of the world all of a suddenly. It's not because they care about the coronavirus healing people. Again, they were making a lot of deals with pharmaceutical companies. And by the way, the pharmaceutical companies are also very angry about this. The reason why is obviously because of what's happening in India. And I'm sure all of you are well aware. The people of India are very much suffering from the coronavirus pandemic, unlike anything we've seen in any other country. And when you look at the United States, previous to India, I think US was probably the worst, right? They're seeing this and like, oh crap, like this is probably going to come into our borders, considering the fact especially that they're saying that the India variant is a double mutant variant. And if it just continues to fester, who knows, it might be a triple mutant variant. So being smart and intelligent, and for once thinking with his head instead of with his political life, livelihood rather, Joe Biden decided that he was going to reverse policy. But this, again, is not something to applaud from the United States standpoint. It's something to understand that these people only act in their interests. There's so many diseases that this country can literally cure if they wanted to. So many things that they have access to, and they won't do it. Not because not because they don't have the technology. They won't do it because they don't want to jeopardize the medical apartheid system. They like it where it is. They like being able to tell people, hey, you have to come to us if you want healing. And they like the idea of telling people, hey, take this dose, and then later on, that same person has a side effect. And then that side effect, oh, we have something for that too. Then that thing has 3 side effects. Oh, we have 3 things for that. They love these things. And so it's important for us to understand these people don't move because of the right thing to do. They move because of the most economical thing to do. They want to protect their power. They don't care about protecting the world population. That's all I have on this. I'd like to hear your thoughts. I will see you guys in the next video.
A poem for us, the African woman. Beautiful, dark, luxurious, fearless, selfless power. Through all the words thrown our way, we are the beautiful source, discarded, disrespected, but highly favored and replicated. We are her, she is us, the African woman. Uncompromising, steadfast, and unwavering in love. Innocent, playful, generous, and deserving. We are African women. At home and abroad, we are delicious melanin, splendid carbon. We drink ourselves to death with love and compassion, forgiving and thorough. We are African women. Join us in May for our symposium on Pan-African women.
Hey family, this is Tierney Cherie. I'm here to make an announcement that I'm very, very excited to make. I'm excited because I really think this is something that is important for our people. Otherwise, I would not have devoted so much time and energy towards it. So I finished my first book, and the book title is Fostering False Identity, the Child Welfare System's Design of Social Control of the Black Family. Now, why is this book something that I think will be very important for our community? Well, number one, it's dealing with the system of white supremacy, particularly the way that the system has targeted our children. If you don't know, our children are literally our future. Without our children, we have no future. And so understand that the system is very crafty when figuring out what to derail first. And to me, it's no mistake that the system particularly went after the Black family. If you look at what happened whenever we were enslaved by this system, and continues to go after the Black family, continues to go after Black children, continues to try to villainize African parents. So for that, I wanted to particularly talk about this subject. Now, the other thing that the book will deal with is our African identities. Why is it that our African identities are a threat to the system? Why is it that whenever we want to identify ourselves as being African, we get so much drawback inside of the Black community? I think a lot of us are not aware of the history of assimilationist thought inside of our community, this idea that we have to be close to white in order to be accepted. And so that's another subject that we delve into in this book. So I'm hoping that anyone who is, obviously, if you're a parent, a Black parent, and you really want to understand why it is that these systems are going after your children, I encourage you to read this book. I hope that it will arm you with a lot of knowledge and a lot of foresight, not just about how to protect your own children, but how to organize in your community, because that's really the purpose of the book, is to say that we have to organize among ourselves in order to protect ourselves from this white supremacist system. And then obviously, if you're an organizer in general, this is something that I think is important for you to read, because like I said, this is a subject in the Black community that we just don't discuss enough. Child welfare is not something that is going to get enough attention. People obviously will organize them around other causes, but this is one that is really important that I feel like we have to pay more attention to.